don't.
You can't
Thanks.
stop me.
Yeah, I mean, we could. It would just involve some sort of, taking a hit out. I don't know. Like.
Wonderful. And on that note, hi everyone. I see this has become our new thing that Will consistently engineers. What were we talking about? Never mind. Starting the stream.
I made a poll about it, so we should have an answer soon.
So, hello everyone. This is live from the apocalypse, where when we're not doing awkward cold opens, we play tabletop role-playing games to benefit nonprofits, aid organizations, and other charitable causes. We do ask that if you are enjoying what you see here, and we always hope that you are, that rather than subscribing or giving us bits, any of the normal Twitch corporate script, that you take that money and donate it directly to the organizations we're fundraising for, so that Jeffy B don't get his cut. This stream is raising money for the International Rescue Committee, which helps people affected by humanitarian crises. It has been around for a good Gerstern minute, 89 years?
80
at this
years,
point?
I believe.
Let's see. It says, well, the info I have says 1933, which would make it 89. So
that's the year I was born.
1933?
No, 89.
Yeah. I was gonna say I got ready to be like, math, no, check out, no.
Well, in the game,
Vampire confirmed.
That is true. Maybe that's when Ephraim was born.
Vampire will confirmed.
Well, the IRC is currently at work in over 40 crisis-affected countries, as well as communities throughout the Europe and the Americas, including this here United States. Because, yeah, I mean, what's the point of being the richest country in the world if you can't, fail to address your own humanitarian needs, right? So if at any point on that note, if you'd like to donate, you can type !donate in the chat. Our bot will post the link, and you can make the McElroy brothers yell at us and interrupt whatever very serious scene we were doing. We also have a variety of channel points you can use to unlock our emotes without subscribing, as well as to interact with and influence the stream in other ways. I think that covers all of our start of game housekeeping. So, I guess without further ado, let's get into it. Some introductions. I'm going to start down to the left-hand side of the screen, going rightward. Will, you want to start us off?
That's me. My name is Will. Hi. It wasn't words, but hi, my name is Will, and I play this guy on the stream. His name is Julian. He is a X-Team Rocket member turned Pokemon chef. He makes food for Pokemon, does not make Pokemon into food. However, tonight is our flashback episode, the end of our flashback arc called War Story, which means that I am going to be playing a lovable young scamp from the streets of Kanto by the name of Ephraim East. You'll love him. Everybody loves him. He's a delight. And aside from playing Ephraim tonight, I can't think of what else. There's a million things happening, actually, right now. We're about to do a big, long series of games for the holidays. You should follow us if you're not already doing that, or join the Discord community, or check our socials, and you'll see more information about that. I'm going to be also running a game on the 18th Sunday, this coming Sunday, over on Altered Echo Archives. It's going to be a holiday-themed Shadowrun game, and you should check that out as well. That's gonna be a great time, and I think that's all the stuff that I have to plug. My tablet just died, so give me a minute here. Have to do this manually.
I feel like I'm in a PowerPoint presentation.
I know.
There we go.
Hi, I am Heather, and I play normally Estelle East, who is not right here because we'll cut them out this time because he's on the balls.
No, it's because I had to do it manually.
So Estelle East is the widow of the former gym leader, and she is doing battle with corporations and trying to revive her husband's legacy before so that it doesn't all go to waste and fall underneath corporations. And in our flashback, I'm playing Professor Esper, who happens to be Estelle's father. And yeah, I normally, gosh, I'm thinking about what I'm doing. Okay, so we actually have our Cryptid Community College, which we call C3. It is our current podcast. In that, I play Stan, who is in the Pararomantic Playbook. You'll get to find out more about that as we end the season, which is coming up soon, right? Other than that, right now, theoretically, I'm still doing our TikToks, but I haven't gotten on there in a minute, and I really need to. Sorry, everyone on TikTok land. Other than that, yeah, basically, I'm on hiatus until after our Christmas run or holiday run stuff goes. What is it? The 12 days of TTRPGs or something?
12 games of Hasmus.
12 games of Hasmus. Yes. So once that's over, I think we're going to try to pick back up on Dungeon and Doggo's fetch quest. But we'll see.
Hell yeah.
Hi, I'm Liz. Normally I play Billy Baker, who is a naive farm boy turned surprisingly so far capable gym leader. But tonight I am playing his grandmother, Lieutenant Peggy DeWick, who is in the military and is carrying a very interesting team through a dangerous mission. We're doing all right so far. I don't think anyone's died by my count, at least officially on screen in the way these things work. Outside of this, for LFTA stuff, I am doing one of the games of Hasmus, doing Release and Rebirth on December 30th, which is going to be New Year's themed, all about like trauma and healing and like letting go of a tough year. And if you haven't had a tough year that you need to kind of move on from, how did you manage this? Please share with the class.
Subscribe to your newsletter.
But for everybody else, please join us for some hopefully collective like healing and fun and happiness. Other than that, we've got like another project in the work I'm not going to say anything about, but if you are following me on Twitter here, you would probably know what it is. So there you go. And I think that's it for me.
All right. And Brennan, do you think?
I don't know how I keep managing to get to be surprised by this. I went last this time even. Hello to all of the people. It is I, Brendan, again, architect of befuddlement and misery, and also the game master. I'm responsible for these shenanigans. When I'm not responsible for these shenanigans, I'm responsible for other shenanigans, specifically playing Alex Sandowski, aka Victory, over on our Masks podcast, Academy H, that plays every other Sunday. And I also was the game master for Crypto Community College, which you heard Heather talk about earlier. And yeah, we are getting on towards the end of the season, which means I need to edit the last 2 episodes before we get caught up.
Dare you fall behind on editing a thing that I know nothing about.
I'm sure it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
But yes, I also am running one of the games for the upcoming 12 games of Hasmus. It's going to be a bit odd, playing it's going to be called Thunderstow, a very Promethean Christmas, a game that I will talk more about maybe in our outros. And I think that covers all of our introductory business. So let's get into it. We are still many years ago, far away from Esper Bay, on Cinnabar Island. In fact, the smoke gently rising from the caldera of the volcano, mingling in the haze with the smog created by burning buildings in the city below. Zooming in further, past the war-torn streets, there's a large, dilapidated mansion that dominates the old quarter of town. This is the mansion that 3 members of our special unit here have come to explore. Have come seeking answers at as they walk in the front door. The antechamber is initially quite unassuming, aside from this thin layer of dust and ash that hangs over everything. It's quite ornate and yet decayed. There are landscapes of Cinnabar Island in an earlier era when it was just beginning to be colonized from Kanto. Indeed, this was the governor's mansion at one point in time. I'm not going to dignify that with a response, chat. Ostensibly, there is a laboratory somewhere in this kudzu covered Gothic mansion. You're not sure exactly where it's supposed to be.
Interesting.
Are we outside still?
No, you're just inside the front doors.
Cool. So we made it in. I suppose
There are Corinthian columns flanking either side of the large receiving room. There is a set of double doors that leads deeper into the mansion on the ground floor, as well as a wide, sweeping stairway that arches up towards a higher level.
It's curious if I had moves or special abilities that could help us here, but not certain I do. Although, looking at this does remind me that we are, or at least I am not without wounds on my Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys
Into this.
Yeah, you guys had a bit of a rough and tumble time. With the Mag Mortar and the other one last time. Heatmore. There we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. The other one that is in a different Word document that I don't have open right now. There was discussion of potentially being able to use the materials in the lab to jury rig together a Healy table, as this game has so eloquently dubbed them, like one that you might find in a Pokemon Center.
You got another name. We're happy to hear it.
You know,
if Pokemon didn't want us to make up a name, they would have provided one.
Yeah,
you know, that is a very good point. They have had like 25 years to figure that shit out.
So Healy table it is.
Healy table it is. But as of yet, you do not know where the lab is in the mansion.
Lieutenant, do we have any intel about the mansion and where I'd really like to get my hands on some parts and get working on. I mean, there are quite a few Pokemon and soldiers in bad shape, and I really think it'd be a good idea to get that handled as soon as possible. And like you can see the professor's just sort of looking around, like not quite like he expects Mewtwo to just pop out of nowhere, but a little like he expects Mewtwo to just pop out of nowhere.
There was stairs up and like an exit out. Were there stairs or anything down that we could see?
Not in the current room. You do say, I would say, go give me a tactics roll.
Okay. That is an D8. That's a solid 2.
Yeah, you think that your intuition of it being down is likely correct, just because they would likely try to reinforce it with some sort of a bunker structure, given the kind of research that they were doing. But as far as any particular insight as to how it might be structured to be accessed, you were drawing a blank. You were not expecting so much of the original mansion to be intact and unmodified.
The intel didn't provide exactly where it would be located, but given that we're looking for technology, from my understanding, you science types like your basements. So I was thinking that should be where we should look for some sort of lower level place. Might be our best place to start.
Yeah, is there like a clear path of destruction or something like that we can follow, given what we heard took place here?
You don't see any in this room, though that is not to say that there isn't some elsewhere in the mansion.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, lead on. I suppose
You probably wanted me to go first, right? Since I'm the guide and everything.
Well, I don't think they really expected you to be familiar with the internal layout of this mansion, but if you'd like to, of course, that is your job.
That's right. It is.
Be careful. Maybe just look out for nails and you know, structures are unstable after explosions and lab accidents, so and like suddenly you remember that like the professor is a father with kids around your age.
Nah, we'll be just fine. And he will, Ephraim will pull out a Pokeball off of his belt. And he will call out VT, his Victini, who is very animated and kind of like climbs up his, like scales him bodily, and like perches on his head, and then between the like two V tufts of its forehead, just like conjures a little flame that sheds some light.
Aww.
And I will start moving towards the basement very confidently.
As one does.
So, there's basically two ways you can go. You can either go forward, deeper into the first floor, or you can take the stairs to go up to one of the upper levels.
Well, we want to go down first. We want to try to go down at least. So
Okay,
not going up.
Yeah, I was about to say, by process of elimination, up seems the worst way to reach down. So.
Okay. So, you continue deeper into, well, I don't want to get too deep into this description without Heather here. I'm hoping that they will be back in just a second.
Yeah.
I was going to say we could just kind of chill and I was gonna kind of like keep going, keep the momentum going. Then I realized, oh no, I'm probably gonna have to like repeat details and such. But I'm happy to just kind of keep talking in this general narratorial tone of voice.
Well, I do
How
believe
is
that
everyone?
Batman Superman won our poll.
Which
Good.
is right. That is what God intended.
Yes.
Yes.
By significant margin, do we know the?
No.
65%.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, we
Okay.
had like 3 votes, I think. So 2 people voted for Batman Superman.
Yeah, I just was checking if it had changed since I had placed my vote.
Don't believe so. Who did you vote for? Just out of curiosity.
Batman Superman. I was actually the deciding vote that put it at that 65%.
I mean, I'm not shocked to know this. Do we want to take a quick break while we're waiting for
We could
Heather to
do
get
that.
back? Maybe. Yeah. Don't go away,
I will
guys.
get my charging cord for my tablet. Yeah, we'll be right back. Don't go away.
Cool. And we're back and whole of party again. As you continue deeper into the mansion, you have the flame from between their tentacles or antenna on the Victini.
They're more like antenna
On the Victini that casts this sort of low flickering light, like a guttering candle on the darkened hallways, passing by gargoyle-like statues of Pokemon and old flaking portraits of austere men that have become faded and gaunt with age. The floor creaks somewhat ominously under your feet. As you head deeper into the hallway, things get darker, not just because there is less natural light, but also because you see that parts of the walls and floor are blackened with smoke damage. You do come to an elevator.
Functioning elevator?
It's an elevator in front of you.
Are the doors closed?
The doors are closed currently.
I'll try pressing the button.
You press the button, and at first nothing happens. Then you start to hear a low rumbling deep in the bowels of the manor. This groaning and creaking of old machinery cranking to life. And just as there's sort of a shuddering that you feel resonate out from the doors and through the shaky boards beneath your feet. You see this mechanical arrow that marks the positioning of the elevator. It starts to move. You would guess downward towards you, but it stops and seemingly becomes stuck.
Well, guess we're not taking the elevator.
Does there look to be any stairs nearby? Or like a door to a stairwell?
That's a good question. As the guide, do I see any stairs?
Otherwise, it'd be a fire hazard, obviously. If they didn't.
is true.
Otherwise, I mean, it depends on what year this is. Do we recognize what fire hazards are?
Yeah, this place would not be up to code.
Yeah, is there a code?
The laboratory where they performed horrifying genetic experiments, not up to code.
Who could
Nobody ever-
imagine?
Nobody ever said they were illegal, horrifying experiments.
Yeah.
It's an unsanctioned lab. No.
You know, hey, the lab where they perform the horrible genetic experiments could very well be OSHA compliant. You never know.
Otherwise, I can try to fix the the elevator, and we'll see how that goes.
So you do not immediately see any stairs nearby. You could continue further down the hallway and explore deeper. And alternatively, there is also, Professor, you do think you might be able to repair the elevator, but probably you would need to get to wherever the car, the tram, is currently stuck
Oh, okay.
in order to do that.
Well, if there's no stairs, I can try to. If we find another location where it is stuck, like so, when the doors aren't open, right?
The doors are not open currently. You could try to pry them open potentially.
Yeah, I was about to say we could probably fix that part of it. but-
Someone definitely can. The professor probably can.
But it didn't sound like the elevator ground to a halt on the other side. It sounded like it was a little ways off.
Well, no, but it depends. Like, it just might be good to see a visual. Like, should we be going left or right or up or down? Is it a Willy Wonka elevator? I didn't know.
That is fair.
I mean, I can have Tango pry open the door.
I was going to say, I might just see if I can do it. I'm surprisingly strong.
You're surprisingly
A
strong.
strapping young lad.
I am a strapping young lad.
I do like the visual of the giant floating steel creature there, and Ephraim being like, "No, I got this.
No.
I got
No,
this.
I got this. I got this.
Let me do my job.
Calm down, Yug.
Right. I was wondering when Ephraim turned into Joey from Yu-Gi-Oh.
Episode 1.
Yeah, it's
One
there's
voice
a-
actor.
Yep.
All 4 kids.
So yeah, I'm going to step up and I'm going to give that a shot. I'm going to see if I can do it.
All right. Give me a fitness roll.
Okay. That is a failure. That is a 3.
Oh no.
Yeah, you you were able to find an old brass fitting that will do duty as a crowbar, and you were trying to force to pry the doors open, but you just cannot seem to get quite enough leverage. The doors on this side, they blend in well with the decor of the mansion. They look quite ornate, but once you get the pry kind of in between the filigree, you can tell that while it looks quite ornamental, this is an industrial elevator and the doors are quite heavy.
Can Tango aid him with psychic to where it's not obvious that he's doing it?
Give me a psychic roll. You.
That is a D6. Also, for the record, as someone who has rewatched that property recently, both any parody and all of our imitations are honestly scaled down relative to what is legitimately put into that show.
It's wild how the abridged series version of Joey Wheeler is the canonical one in my brain.
Yeah, it's true.
And again, is at absolute worst just as bad as the show, if not still scaled down.
Yeah.
And that is a 4.
Okay. That is a success. So as Ephraim is sort of huffing and puffing, there is which Pokemon was doing it?
Tango. So the
Matang. Yeah.
Matang.
There is just sort of a nonchalant thrumming from Matang that sort of just kind of like vibrates throughout the hallway, and as that vibration sort of travels up Ephraim's legs into the crowbar, into the doorway. At last, there is a bit of give as the doors begin to slide open, dropping bits of rust down on your head.
I told you I'd get it.
Never doubted you for a second, kid.
Beyond is, as you might expect, an empty elevator shaft. It is a yawning pillar of nothingness with a thick. Ooh, a wild doggo appears.
Oh, the wild doggo appeared.
With a thick and rusted cable running up the center of it.
Do we see the elevator that stopped?
If you peek your head in and you look up, you would see what looks to be the elevator car. Looks like it's stuck about 2 floors above you.
Is there a maintenance shaft, like a ladder?
Yeah, there's a ladder.
There's a ladder.
There's a ladder.
There's a ladder. It's fine.
There's a ladder. There's a ladder. It's fine.
All right, cool. So I think what the professor's gonna do is get Ghastly out and utilizing Ghastly's slow glow, a little bit of light. Say, well, if you'll just help me out onto this ladder, quite and like you're like just a little bit out of reach. He's gonna go ahead with his tools and go up and see if he can't get this elevator running.
Gonna climb up?
Yeah.
All right.
Probably a bad move, but we'll see how it goes.
Sure. You climb up, and looks like there is a blockage of some sort with one of the wheels and one of the tracks for the elevator. It appears to have more or less sort of kind of fused into a solid piece. But you think you could probably chip enough of the rust away that you could get it running again, if not well, then at least functioning.
Okay, let me go ahead and see if I can do a research roll. I think what the professor's going to try to do is the concentration here is going to be on doing this in such a way that I don't get crushed.
Yes. And again, the research will be appropriate in part because the issue is not as much the actual chipping away of the rust, but being able to do so in a way that does not simultaneously irreparably damage the mechanism that you are trying to free.
Also a concern, because otherwise we got to climb up and down this shaft using this little ladder, which also I assume is rusted and probably shouldn't hold this many people.
Yeah, honestly, even under your weight, you can feel it. It's shaft talk. What can I say? You can feel the ladder starting to kind of pull on some of these presumably very stripped screws and bolts.
I think at this point, Tango is just kind of hovering in the elevator shaft in case there's a need to act.
You know something, Lieutenant? That old man sure has a pair of great balls on him.
Did that actually roll? That's a 2. So, if everybody's cool with it, so I don't get crushed, I'm gonna use one of our things to re-roll.
Yeah, seems like a good call.
That's a good time.
Seems like a good idea, so that I don't die yet. That's not. Let me roll. Maybe. What is happening? Yes.
Well,
Oh no. Oh
That's worse.
no.
It's worse.
keep going.
So no, I don't think we can. I think we had a rule that I could only do it once, right? You can
We
only
did
do
not
every
have a rule.
We did not have a.
I don't think we made that rule.
Yeah, we did not make that rule. You're
All
good.
right,
Keep going.
cool. This is gonna be great. It'll be fine. I'm gonna choose the other dice now. Let's see how that
so
does.
it sounds like what we really need is some more donations up in here. So
Yeah.
so Professor East doesn't get.
There it is.
Wouldn't it be
There
great
it
if
is.
the
We didn't
some
need
people
those.
just-
We didn't need those for when we faced Mewtwo. We needed those now for the elevator shot.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you don't want to do the whole prequel series just to reveal that Estella's dad died in an elevator. Like, that's really anticlimactic.
That's true.
Oh, it turns out he just got crushed. He just
got
made a
crushed by
bad
an
call in an
elevator.
elevator. That's the grand
Technically,
mystery.
Yeah.
technically, I'm the only one who has to survive this miniseries.
Oh, technically, I don't know. Have we? Yeah, we did establish that. There was even dramatic lighthouse. Keep the light on. For
I
me
mean, I think I
thing
have
said.
to, unless Peggy DeWick had her kid out of wedlock. Which
Yeah.
That's
maybe
fair. That's fair. Yeah, you have not had your children yet.
I
true.
was literally
It's true.
drafted at my wedding. So
Cool. So you guys you all are just gonna make it out, and I'm gonna be dead in an elevator shaft. I see. how
It's
it's
true.
going.
Dead in an elevator shaft.
Also, 4
Okay.
kids would never let a character have kids out of wedlock.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I
Shocking.
mean, in a sense, they would because they just wouldn't acknowledge it, but the ages would make no damn
No
sense.
sense at all. Yes, you are able to. So you got a 10 there.
Yeah, I mean, I technically could explode that, but
I mean, hey,
why risk it?
you know what? Hey, like you can't okay by exploding it. You can't make it a failure. So
I mean, yeah, like let's not take bets on that.
oh no, you have rolled the dreaded negative one,
Yeah,
the secret number.
the secret -10 die. Let's see. That looks like a 16. Yay.
Right. You are able to get the mechanism working, and it starts to roll down towards you. There's a brief moment of panic, but you actually manage to hop off of ladder because since you got a 16 on your roll. You managed to hop off of the ladder, grab a hold of one of the struts underneath the elevator car, and ride it down until you lean back and deftly swing back through the open doorway into the hallway.
That sounds far too physically adept for the professor. I think Ghastly kind of shoves him in with his body. Like, just like, ooh, like just almost tipping down into the void, but Ghastly's just like, ooh.
Yep. And then it's just like
hovers back in as well.
Well, and he's just like covered in cobwebs, and like a spider runs across his hair. And he's like, that was a close one, but we have transportation now for. We should probably utilize it quickly. It is quite rusted.
Not bad, Professor.
Yes, well, let's see how it goes. It's just a professor sitting there thinking of like the ladder creaking and the bolts rusted. Like, this could be incredibly dangerous, but I think it's the only way down. We should probably take it now.
Down it is.
Down it is.
And we've left behind all of the soldiers, correct?
yes.
Okay, so they're outside or recovering or whatever.
We never had soldiers.
I thought
No, we
had
got
the
new
rescue.
soldiers.
We had rescue
Oh,
soldiers.
yeah. Sorry, we did. Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking of the Rocket Battalion.
Oh, yeah. Rocket Battalion who blasted off again.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
the list
that's
of characters who have not died, at least on screen.
On screen so far. Somebody's going to have to help you two get out of here when I die in an elevator shaft.
That's fair. Speaking of dying in an elevator shaft, all aboard.
Yeah.
Choo choo. That's the sound that elevator makes.
Chugga, 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 chugga.
Yes, once inside again, it is quite ornate on the inside. Like you would expect that this looks to you like the elevator out of a luxury hotel.
One of those ones that had an attendant.
Yes, it has like a little grate that slides in front of it, a little lever, and looks like it has positions for at least 3 above ground floors, a basement, and then something below that. And that is the most obvious modification that has been made is the addition of a floor designation below the basement.
I've always wanted to do this, and he starts pulling the levers to take us down.
I thought you're just gonna
Wrong lever.
all the buttons.
Wrong lever. Crunk.
And with another great groaning and creaking, you begin to descend. The floors passing by you. You see, since you had opened up the doors, you were passing by, there are the outer doors for floors below you that can have the same ornate filigree as the ones that you opened above. And then there is one that is more basic, very utilitarian, something that the help would use. And then finally, after passing through a long stretch of earth and concrete, a set of heavy doors marked with hazard tape. And Ephraim, as you were looking around the elevator, it got pretty fancy digs, and you can't help yourself. Old habits die hard. You are used to sort of kind of casing a place like this a little bit for something that you might be able to pocket to pawn off later. And most of the stuff here, it's brass, whatever. But your foot kind of nudges against something that's been kind of kicked into the corner of the elevator. And investigating further, reaching down to grab it, it looks like an old like dictaphone.
Phrasing? What? What
I'm,
now?
I'm doing it. Be patient.
There you go.
Interesting.
I was supposed to say this feels like an up dog setup.
Oh, what the phone?
Interesting. Okay. I'm not certain I know what that is. It's like a recorder, essentially.
Yes.
One of the old ones
Yes.
with,
Yeah.
like,
It's like a small handheld tape recorder that you use to take little notes to yourself with.
I was thinking of like the Henry Higgins one with like the hose that like you used to speak into. I was like, how did we miss that getting in the elevator?
No, it's a little handheld dictaphone.
It's not that.
Oh,
It's not what it sounds like.
It's a
It's a
handheld
recording
dictaphone.
device.
Right. Yeah. No. I was thinking of some My Fair Lady stuff. So carry on.
It's going so many places.
Yep. So
It's a
many
tape
places.
recorder. It's a small tape recorder.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I used the term that was technically accurate, but that also sounded kind of naughty.
Apology
How dare
accepted.
you utilize your extensive vocabulary on us this late in the evening?
You guys have me Googling this to be like, okay, like I'm not crazy, right? That's what it's called, right? Yes.
Careful how
Okay.
you spell it.
Do you know?
I mean, to be fair-
like, whenever I think of dictaphones, it's like the cylinder ones that they used to have to change out the cylinder, and it would like record it on there, and then it would circle. Do you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
the old fashioned kind. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was picturing. And they had this long hose with like, you know, like the old timey like
Yes,
telephone.
this isn't like an Alexander Graham Bell wax cylinder dictaphone. No,
It works.
it's a small like micro tape dictaphone. Coming through. All right, testing. 1, 2, 3. Is this thing on? All right. Trying to commit all of these to a format that I can bring with me. To try to collect my thoughts. Professor James G. Blaine, the senior, I suppose, recording. Statement begins. The research into Subject Mu continues, and it has shed considerable light on many of the questions that we had regarding the emergence of the Pokemon phenomenon. As far as I have been able to tell, Pokemon, as we understand them, are all born out of the original exotic matter brought into our universe by Subject Mu. That strange matter allows them to violate the laws of physics as they import the unusual nuclear characteristics of their native space-time. Our observing Pokemon doing this actually helps them do it by collapsing their quantum state and giving them an anchor in our reality. This is important because from Mewtwo, I'm sorry, that's a bit of a nickname we've been using around the office. I like it. I thought it was clever. But for Subject Mewtwo, this is exponentially true, as its tremendous psychic powers allow it to exist in the minds of millions of observers simultaneously. The data for this, backing up this hypothesis, I have filed under Athenor Mercury Abiogenesis. And I hope that those records will survive for posterity. Right, I think that's it for this entry. It's almost lunchtime. Where's the off button? Where's the off button on this thing? And it cuts out.
Is this okay? Are we claiming that Pokemon are tulpas?
I'm not claiming they're not tulpas.
The Winchesters would like to know your location. That's real weird.
Well, not so weird, although I would be very interested in the research they've been doing about this. I mean, the very idea that in observing Pokemon, we're removing them from a quantum state and bringing them into existence in our reality, that's remarkable. I mean,
So wait,
And
it's
like
like
the professor's just obviously doing math in his head now.
so wait, it's like, does the light go out when the refrigerator's closed? It's like when we're not looking at them, they don't look the same. When we do look at them, they look the way that they are looking.
Well, it also might explain the mystery of the missing numbers. I mean, if something is happening to maintain the Pokemon in their quantum state, they never really solidify into a Pokemon and stabilize. And that might even be disrupting our reality. I'm just making shit up now, but we should roll for this.
Look, I'm not saying whether or not you're shockingly close to my made up technobabble bullshit.
I too like to read the Pokemon stuff for. Oh, my camera just changed over. I don't know why. I too like to read the stuff for. Let's see what happened. The physics things and find out all of those things. It's very fun.
Interestingly, also, Professor, this does strike you as at least a little bit important beyond the assorted physical and phenomenological implications of this. Importantly, this also would seem to suggest to you that the military's plan to trap Mewtwo in a place where their psychic abilities are somehow blocked or insulated would theoretically work. It does seem to back up that hypothesis, but you would need the numbers to be sure.
Well, so I guess I don't. Well, nope. I don't want to get that far into the science of it. I don't need to do that. That is just my ADHD at work. We're fine. Continuing on.
I mean, hey, if you want to technobabble, go off, Professor.
No, I won't. I won't do that to our listeners. But I will definitely pick your brain about this later. Let's go.
I am so flattered that you think that I thought this out that much.
It's fine.
I just don't get it. All right. So like when a Pokemon's in a Pokeball, that's what they actually look like because nobody's looking at them.
So Pokemon's base code would be the same, but they wouldn't have stabilized. The problem with the missing number is that it is missing data and therefore is unable to stabilize. And if the stabilization is their default state well, I'll need to see the data. And then, like, he just goes off. He's like there are like 8 million theories, and he's just like very determinedly like not even looking in the corners from Mewtwo the way he was before. Just like, well, I need to see the numbers on this. We're going to have to find the data. I need to do some reading. There might be preliminary tests, like, you know. So
they solidify when we first perceive them. Do they then stay solidified after that initial perception?
Well, yes. I mean, how else would we have been codifying the concept of a different Pokemon? Although it's interesting to think that potentially the Pokemon we're still continuing to discover might be Pokemon that just have not fully solidified, and as the knowledge of them passes from human to human, they become more solidified within our reality and take a shape that is permanent. You know, and like he just starts going off into theories, and you know, as we observe, it changes its reality.
So, Professor, you're saying that's why every couple of years there's 300 more of them.
Well, I don't know about 300. That seems like just an excessive amount of Pokemon.
I'm pretty
there
sure
surely
it
are
was 300
great
this year.
many amount of Pokemon.
I tell you what, God, I am just pleased as punch that like that this
Did I know enough about
insanity,
quantum states and like the question of observation?
Insanity makes sense to another human being.
My brothers and I drink and smoke cigars and talk about the fact when you hold a spoon, you're not actually holding anything. So yes, I understand all this shit.
I wrote this explanation for how Pokemon have to work, and I was like, this is what you went with.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you went with. Sure. Yeah, that sounds like something that could be real, I guess. Anyway, moving on.
If Pokemon are an energy source or a traveling like data set, and like they're solidified by observation, and like we end up with different species just appearing about 300 or so more every year, then yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, right.
Yeah, just
as you are having this. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Will's mom.
Dude, crack one for the big
Thanks,
boy.
Will's mom.
Thanks, Will's mom.
Put some of that luck back in the pool after the professor avoided a very ignominious end to that particular mystery.
And you know what? If I hadn't, then who would have been able to follow your Pokemon?
So if the Pokemon state is the Pokemon state sorry. If it's is it inherent to them?
Well,
or
no,
is
a
it
quantum state is really something that exists and does not exist at the same time until observation occurs, and then it differentiates into its permanent states or observable states. So a Pokemon is both a Pokemon and not a Pokemon at all prior to observation. And then once our consciousness develops a concept of this is what this type of Pokemon is, it looks like and does, we begin to diversify that, and it's just the known, and we expect that as we observe. And he just continues. Yeah.
I'm so happy. I genuinely cannot tell you. Also, have I mentioned lately that I have a fucking great cast? Christ, I do not think that half the shit that I do would succeed even halfway without the excellent cast that I have. I am so spoiled. But as you were having this fascinating phenomenological conversation, the industrial grade elevator doors open, and there is a long concrete hallway of heavy metal doors marked with numbers. And Lieutenant, can you just give me a quick tactics roll?
Sorry, still thinking about the implication that means regional variants might seem like the same ones, and that later occur.
Hey, for all three of our viewers, I hope this is what you signed up for.
Yeah, you totally wanted a lecture on probability distribution in quantum states, right? That's what you were looking for, and how that applies to Pokemon and whether or not they are Pokemon.
It's just one of the many things we bring you. Hey, I will listen. We are a top 1% tabletop RPG stream.
You're very into that.
I'm just saying.
Like, seriously?
Numbers don't lie. Yeah, actually.
Wow.
According to our Twitch recap.
Diggity wow.
Apparently.
Okay. Go us. Yep. All right.
Go, yep.
This is all right. This is the quality content. So more quantum Pokemon. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah. All right. I could do that.
We haven't even gotten to quantum states and computing for Digimon. Let's go.
I'm not going to point out that the tabletop RPGs category is much, much, much smaller than the Dungeons and Dragons category, which is its own thing. But
we don't need this negativity. Just like that. Let us have our little victory for today.
Mm-hmm.
So, Lieutenant, what'd you get on your tactics roll?
It was a 6, I believe.
Excellent.
Yes, 6.
Everything is very still, very quiet, very stale even. But there is something that immediately gets your hackles up. There is a slight smell that, a slightly acrid chemical smell that is very faint and that most other people wouldn't pick up on. But most people don't have the amount of field experience you have with poison type Pokemon. You know that there is a poison type Pokemon somewhere around here. You don't know exactly where, but somewhere in this basement level, there is a poison type Pokemon.
Other than Ghastly.
Like there is a particular, there are particular categories of poison type Pokemon. There is a particular a gas producing poison type Pokemon. Let me put it that way. That all isn't Ghastly. Darn it. Oh my god. I'm trying so hard here.
There is a coughing and or wheezing somewhere in this basement.
Okay, fine. Yes, all right. Yes, fine.
But we don't know that yet because we haven't perceived it. So
okay, fine. Yes,
there are quantum potential of a coughing or wheezing. Lieutenant.
there is a probability of non-zero that there is a Pokemon that is toxic and gassy here.
Yeah, the lieutenant kind of puts like her arms out to kind of like slow the others and steps out first with Tango very particularly floating out like alongside her, and then Tango starts to float ahead out into the room, kind of just looking back and forth.
You continue down the hallway. And there are would look to be 3 main labs off of this sort of central spine of a corridor. Basically, doors 1 through 3.
All right, well, we know there's no Mew 3.
Despite
So we got
everything,
that.
despite everything that
Do
we
we?
heard on the playground in 5th grade, there is no Mew 3.
We got
Yui?
that going for us. Well, according to this dick thing, yeah.
The dictaphone?
Yeah, that thing.
Well,
Fun fact, by the way, according to the Wikipedia article, that is a Kleenex tissue situation, and the dictation machine is the actual object. Dictograph
Huh.
is the company, or dictaphone was the company.
Dictaphone is the brand.
Oh,
Mhm.
interesting.
Interesting.
Okay.
Oh.
You learn
Um,
something new here every night at the top 1% tabletop RPG stream live from the apocalypse.
This is it. This is the content.
Quantum states.
Quantum state Pokemon and dictaphone trivia.
Each Pokemon is a probability matrix until it becomes a Pokemon. All right. What?
It's behind door number 1.
I was gonna actually ask which of the doors looks the least, or like the most used, or like is there anything? No, is there any nerds? How dare you accurately portray us? Is there anything like, is the dust been disturbed, or is there any damage to a particular door but not others?
Is there a door blown off its hinges as if in some sort of psychic fury?
Yes. Or, clawed at, maybe like got some toxic sludge, a little bit of rolling gas coming from underneath.
Well,
Any observable differences?
tell you what, Professor, give me a research roll.
Are we sure? That didn't go well last time.
You got you're fresh up. You're fresh up on luck thanks to Will's mom.
We're gonna need
Yay,
your
thank
minor
Will's
endorse
mom.
for this one, Professor.
Thanks, Will's
All right,
mom.
let's go.
Hey, as anyone who's done any graphics work in video games can tell you, doors are fucking hard.
They very much are. Are you done rolling? I think that's a 2. So no,
It is a 2.
we're going with door number 2.
I would like to, real quick, before we do that, I would like to see if I can detect any strong psychic presences.
Ooh.
Okay, cool. Yeah, roll your Esper powers.
Okay,
Smarter pants and-
Yeah. It's not
Also,
great.
also, I hate the fact that I have heard the term Esper in various contexts for, basically my entire life, and it took me until literally 2021 before I realized that Esper literally meant ESP.
Yeah.
I was over 30.
Years old.
I was over 30 when I figured that out.
I got a 1.
Yeah. So which is
killing
so
it.
by process of elimination, that means we go through door number 3.
Don't even
mean,
get to
you
mark
get
a
this-
potential or anything.
I know, right? No failing forward in this system. You sort of reach out with your mind and you find it actually oddly claustrophobic in here in a way that you were not normally particularly claustrophobic, but you feel sort of cramped in. The air feels particularly stale and oppressive here. You know that you remember the military talking a little bit about sort of some properties of psychic insulation that existed in this cave they were trying to trap Mewtwo in. And you're curious if there might not be something similar going on in this lab complex.
The scar blocks the force.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention it. I've not mentioned that I'm psychic. I'm not going to start now.
It's probably wise. Government officials are here still.
So then, gonna follow the professor to, what was it, door number 3?
I think because if you rolled a 1 and I rolled a 2, I think that means we have to go through door number 3.
That equals 3. The math checks out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, also based on your expert, there's no Mew 3 deduction. It seems to be the safest room to start with.
Logic tracks. It goes
That is
with
true.
According to this old issue of Nintendo Power I found outside, it says there's no such thing as a Mew 3.
I was going to say, unless Brennan is going to use this as the opportunity to
You do have a
that was the long game.
redeem middle school Brendan, who believed
and
in
finally
Mew 3.
put a Mew 3 in there.
Don't worry, when they get desperate enough, 2-3 generations down the line, they'll be a Mew 3.
It better come with the movie. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, it will.
Where a child tries to punch it and dies in the process. Moving on. Door number 3.
Door number 3, indeed. It takes you a minute to figure out what the actual opening mechanism of these doors are, as it's partially automated. But you are ultimately able to find the correct way to turn the lever embedded in the doorway to get the wheels turning behind the concrete walls, to slide it out of the way, scraping metal on cement as it opens agonizingly slowly, as you sort of both
So
as you all sort of hide behind it, waiting to see if anything jumps out the other side now that you have thoroughly alerted whatever is inside to your presence.
I think when we're done moving it to the side, Ephraim's going to look over his shoulder at the professor and the lieutenant and just go like, shh.
Yes. Oh. Turns to Ghastly, and Ghastly's like,
And then I guess walk inside.
Do I
Right.
smell that smell coming from this room before we go in?
Actually, kind of the opposite.
Okay.
You
picturing Ghastly like mustard gas now, or not Ghastly, but
you open the door, and there's actually a bit of a rush of fresh air kind of hits nostrils, and looks like a bit of a daylight kind of coming in from the other side of the door.
Yeah, Justin,
had
fucking
fun.
grip it, baby. Slop that
Was it
down, dude.
daylight outside?
Yeah,
Thanks for the
dude.
donation.
Crack one for the big
Thank
boy.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
donation.
Mew 3
Mew 3 confirmed. Back up to 4, baby.
Taking a peek inside, the first thing that you notice is that there is no ceiling. Exactly.
Doggo 2 confirmed.
It's super effective. The first thing you notice is that, there is no ceiling. There is a hole, like a hole approximately the circumference of the room, that has been punched directly upward through the ground, through reinforced concrete, through the basement and 3 above ground floors of mansion, So there is literally just this like empty tube of air, this vent just running up to the open sky up outside. In the room itself, you see a number of broken pieces of equipment of indeterminate purpose, flipped over and shattered desks and waterlogged papers that have been exposed to rain coming in from above. And at the center of which is a large dais-like console before a large shattered glass tube.
Do we think that is that what I think it is?
I mean, it seems likely. Unless they were keeping something else here.
The professor looks like mildly devastated, just that sort of I can't believe they did this look in his eyes. And then he sort of shakes himself off and starts trying to like gather the paperwork and like figure out what was sort of that research that they were talking about. And see if there's anything remnants left that he can pull together.
At least in this room, it doesn't look like there is anything salvageable. All of the electronics have been what has not been smashed has been exposed to the elements for years.
Mm-hmm.
Any paper has been thoroughly waterlogged. Any computer parts have been. All right, there, Will.
Yeah, I'm
No more
sorry.
dictaphones?
I think my tea bag split open.
Oh no!
So there's just like solids at the bottom, and I was like, "What is happening right now?"
Yes,
strain with your teeth, like that nice, Scottish tea style.
Yeah, there are like 3-ring binders scattered about that have been like fused into a solid piece. There are remains of computers and instruments, but they have long since shorted out. There is even sort of a thin pool of brackish water in the room that has sort of collected in the center from years of rainwater.
There was only the one tube in the center, correct? There weren't like many along the walls or anything like that?
Just the one tube, yeah.
Okay. And there's no observable measures here that you can tell might be have like no specialized glass or metal or structuring that's intended to like suppress psychic powers, right? You want me to roll?
Yeah, give me a research roll.
See if I can't roll.
Do I still feel suppressed?
You feel less suppressed than here, probably because somebody went and punched the gigantic hole up to the open sky.
Who could that have been?
Oh, good.
That's a low number.
I love this new roller, Will.
Listen, it's not Roll20. Everybody had an issue with Roll20. Everyone was like, I hate Roll20. So I got one that's not Roll20.
I'm just saying. One hates me.
Sometimes we roll badly.
All night. Yeah. This is the episode we want that happening.
You rolled a 10.
I did after 3 misfires.
Well,
the dice giveth, the dice taketh away.
It's
Yeah.
true.
They're going to be taken away. So yeah, I guess I don't recognize anything that would be
at least not in here. Probably just because everything has been so thoroughly damaged.
Yeah. And anything odd would be like covered in moss or slime.
Exactly.
Like you said,
Yeah.
So-
There's like even like the thin, like the glass tube, like it looks like it was definitely like industrial grade glass, and it looks like there might have even been some like interesting crystalline deposits in the glass itself, but it's like there's a thin layer of algae that is growing on it at this point from exposure to the elements.
Okay. I think I'm going to take a sample, but then I'm going to, just indicate to the lieutenant, there's nothing we can get out of this room. We might as well see if there's anything else left of the rest of the labs.
Yeah, we can move to the next one.
Can I, since I'm feeling less psychically suppressed, can I try to like catch a vibe or something?
Yeah, go for it.
Maybe even a vision. Who knows?
Maybe.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Almost a success. It's a 3.
Yeah, are you sure about this new roller?
Listen, it's a D4. All right.
Yeah, in that particular instance,
Fair.
There's only one chance to succeed with the system that only lets you roll 1 D4 at a time.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, you are getting more of an impression overall, but because you're sort of opened up to the outside, it is hard to pick any one particular kind of signal that you might be getting out of just the general psychic noise of the outside world.
Okay. I keep this to myself, and I will follow the adults.
I tell no one.
Yep.
I tell no one.
Like a good adventurer.
All right. Well, two doors left. Which one has the goat behind it?
Let's roll for it. Wait, no, Lieutenant, it's your turn. Make decisions, tactical ones.
Damn it.
if Mewtwo was in room 3, then by math, you would be in room 2. So we will check room 1 first because it should have nothing in it.
Agree. Perhaps it's a sign that we started this stream chatting about Superman. Perhaps we should go 3 doors down.
I forgave you the first reference.
So it's been a great stream, everyone. It's been a channel. We're packing it in. We're just, 1350 sounds like a great round number. We're packing it all in. Sorry, IRC.
Yep. Bye. Y'all could, everybody just.
All right, so you're heading down to door number 1.
Yeah.
You start to creak open the door. This one does still, it's not quiet, but it's a bit less janky than the other one. You get the sense that this door might be in slightly better working order, being that it was not on the receiving end of a massive psychic explosion. Still, not a pleasant sound by any means. And immediately, Lieutenant, you cannot help but notice that the smell is stronger here.
Gotcha.
No.
He was crazy than what he used to call me.
Look, I know all the lyrics to the song, but I'm not
Okay.
going to sing it here.
I don't need that in my head when I'm trying to sleep later.
I have sung that enough times tipsily at karaoke.
It's kind of a banger.
We don't need that here.
It's kind of a banger, I'm not going to lie.
Somewhere distantly, you hear the voice of young Sam from Pallet Town say, "This isn't the place for that."
Okay, carry on.
Yeah. The moment the lieutenant goes to move into the room, catches the smell, and then stops for a second and lets Tango float in ahead before following in behind him. And has her eyes alert for some sort of potentially gaseous poison Pokemon that may or may not
potentially.
be a
I know
wheezing.
who can say. This room appears to have more functioning instruments inside it. They are old. They're covered in dust, as well as also this sort of vague iridescent sheen, sort of, you'd have to get a closer look at it to see what it is. And in particular, in the far corner of the room, there is some piece of machinery that still appears to be functioning. There is still, after all these years, something that is still, it looks like it's hooked up to some kind of an independent power source that is still running.
So we're gonna start moving towards that, but
Is it a
very
Healy
much
table?
keeping an eye out.
I would say respectively, I would say, Professor, give me a research roll. Lieutenant, give me a tactics roll.
Oh no.
What do you want me to roll to know if it's a Healy table?
Well, that's kind of what the
I
the
see.
professor is figuring out.
Okay, I understand.
Although,
I can continue quoting songs about Superman if you want.
no.
let's see. Give me a. I will
All
say.
right, never mind. I'm on team scrap the roller.
Is that a 7? Because that kind of looks like a 7.
No, it's a 1.
Okay,
It is
well,
actually a 1, unfortunately.
Did it even roll mine? I didn't see it.
I don't know. You might have sent them in at the same time. There should be a thing on the side.
Yeah,
And I would say at the same time, Ephraim,
No,
if you would
yeah.
also, I would say, Ephraim, your choice. Give me a tactics or a research roll. Although, in the meantime, Professor, what'd you get on the research roll?
That was a
That
success. That was a
is-
5.
That's a 5? Yeah, okay.
Okay, so
I have to
you
wait for it to stop rolling on my screen.
you got a little bit closer, and it takes you a second to really kind of grok what you're looking at as far as this machine is. You've never seen one actually built before. You've seen designs, you've seen blueprints, you've seen theories, but you've never seen a functioning teleporter before.
Good lord.
My God.
Great googly boogly.
Sweet Arceus.
Zeus. No. I think the professor actually is gonna pull out their other Pokemon, Hoopa, and say, Hoopa, look, and like start talking to Hoopa because they've been working for a while on this exact problem.
And so, Ephraim, which did you decide to roll, and what did you get?
I decided to roll tactics.
Okay.
And I got a 6.
Great.
Yay.
You get kind of close to some of the machinery and get a look at this kind of iridescent sheen that it has on it. And it has this sort of like little purple crystals on them that have almost kind of like it's stuck to it, almost kind of like sublimated out of the air. And you sort of follow this kind of vein of them up the wall. And the ceiling is quite dark. There's only like a very small amount of light coming from the running lights on the teleporter and the flame that your Victini is putting out. And looking up into the darkened air in the upper reaches of the room. No, nothing
Don't-
nearly so terrifying.
Don't speak it into existence.
I know. Okay, hey, I know there's an eldritch horror element to this game, but even I have my limits.
Sorry.
I would never.
I thought
not
my
the- it's
mic
not
was
the-
on mute.
It's not the game that Pokemon, that children play in this world where they, say Mr. Mime into a mirror 3 times.
But the darkness does appear to be what's a word I can use? Undulating.
I feel like you already had that one locked and loaded and you were just...
well, who can say?
Okay. I feel feel like you knew exactly what the darkness was doing.
You know.
Would you say it was pulsating? No.
Throbbing even.
Throbbing?
Okay. Well, that's weird.
We came back around. We came back around. How did we get back here? Sorry. I'm not talking now.
Hey, Professor, Lieutenant, why don't you come take a look at this?
The professor is like 100% just like enraptured with the teleportation machine. What are you telling him is there?
There's some darkness over here that's positively undulating.
Oh, undulating darkness. I don't. And he like starts to look away from the teleporter, like what could be undulating in the darkness? It's an odd phrase. Yeah, like research role. I guess?
Sure, yeah. You know what? Okay, I've been calling for a lot of die rolls. I am going to let the professor know a thing because they're a professor, and
I'm a professor.
and because we've already buried the lead on this one. Looking up into it, kind of straining your eyes against the darkness into this sort of bulbous black, you recognize this sort of viscous cloud that sort of takes on a number of odd shapes. But there are sections of it that periodically sort of break away and free float around the room like motes of dust, with these sort of particulate, sort of protein spikes just dotted around their surface. And no. Look, words are all I have. Big words are the only thing I'm good at. If you take away my big words, I'm nothing. You hear me? Nothing.
What am I then?
And what is a man? And you see these sort of abdominal markings on them. This death's head pattern. This distinctive clue to their purpose. And there is a larger one in the center that is made of several of them that have, where they collide, sort of fused. Yeah, coughing and wheezing. Gross Pokemon when you think about them. I love them. Especially in Galar when they have like a little top hat. He's like a little robber baron.
Oh,
Milady.
Milady. So is it a coughing or is it wheezing?
It is all of the above.
What is a wheezing but a miserable pile of coughings?
And with that, I think, why don't we take a quick 10-minute break?
Okay.
Let's do it.
Just glad it wasn't tentacles.
Yet. All right, we'll be back in 10 short minutes. Don't go away. See you soon.
And we are back. Thanks for bearing with us, folks. And we pick up with folks in the basement with a bunch of coughing and wheezing.
Yeah, I can't imagine this thing wants to be friends, so...
Black mold.
Yeah. In fact, say the largest one of them, the large center mass of it, begins to almost sort of swell towards you. The side of it sort of splitting open like an overripe fruit to reveal a large toothed maw. And you want to take us into battle, Will?
Let's do it.
I'd love to see how our video effect expert video effects team has rendered this monstrosity.
I think if we're able to, I'd love to be able to do a wheezing and 2 coughings.
One moment.
Coughing's always got the weirdest facial expression.
He's great.
Why did I lock any of these? That's weird. There we go.
You got this.
Hey, look at that.
Hey.
All right.
Battle. All right. So, gonna have you guys want to roll off for initiative?
Love to.
No. We hate it.
It's tactics, right?
Tactics, yes.
Killed it. Man, that initiative runs in the Baker family, huh?
Yeah, that was not ideal. But hey, look at that.
You gonna roll for me, please? Yeah.
So, what did you get, Peggy?
1.
1. All right. Very good. Ephraim, what'd you get?
1.
A 1. Okay. Somebody just got a 4 in there.
That was
That
me.
would be-
I'm gonna
all
roll
right.
it again.
Yeah, the person with a D4.
Right.
Yeah.
I see. Very good. All right. Well, either Ephraim or Peggy, you can decide between the two of you which you would prefer to go first.
5.
I feel like it makes sense that Peggy would go first, having military experience.
Works for me. So both of us are going ahead. Do you just mean in the general order, right? Because obviously we both rolled once. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's messing me up that now I'm on the left. Switched with Will. This is our entire graphics budget for the year. So everybody
Oh yeah,
enjoy.
no, this is it. This is the whole budget.
The rest of the year, nothing left for the holiday games. It's just this.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say, I guess then, Lieutenant, you have the first move.
With the 1. I'll take
Yeah.
it.
Or no, I'm sorry. I am sorry. No, I somehow did this initiative order, then flipped all of them. No, I am sorry. Professor, you are going first.
Oh no. Okay, then yeah. I think the professor.
You were going first of the 3 actors in this fight that all rolled a 1.
It's true.
So, but technically 5 is a larger number than 1. I'm not very good at math, but I do know that.
So that is the numbers that usually work.
So I believe Hoopa was out because we were discussing the teleporter. So I think as these Pokemon like zero in, Hoopa's gonna take up a step forward, and the professor's going to advise Hoopa. Well, so they're going to be poisonous, so you'll want to use your psychic abilities if you can. Hoopa, try your psychic cut. Perhaps you can cut through this gaseous formation. And like Hoopa's just like, yeah, I got this. Whatever, it's fine.
Well, psychic abilities. Who said anything about psychic abilities?
Not me.
No one at all has. Yes.
You guys got psychic abilities?
Of course, yes. You haven't. Oh, that's right. You haven't met my wife. We'll talk about it later. I'll explain. There's really, a connection. And he just wanders off into an explanation. But let's get that in. Let's roll a dice. So it is a blue and
I will
Then
say,
it's
as you're starting this, that there is the haze around you is getting thicker, the smell getting stronger, and there is something sort of cloying and oppressive about it. That mechanically speaking, is turning off any abilities of any Pokemon.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So how do I roll for my Pokemon then?
So your moves are still the same, but if your Pokemon has a passive ability,
Oh,
that is not active because of Coughing's neutralizing gas ability.
right. What was it? Steals that. Yeah, no, that's okay. My abilities steal items, so that's not a thing we need to worry about with coughing.
My ability
so
would
that
have been nice,
is-
but it's fine.
That's a 5.
All right. So which are you attacking?
The whoever was the closest, I think, is Hoopa is just like as they come forward. So I'm assuming that's probably the wheezing.
Sure. I did sort of describe the wheezing kind of looming out at you. So yeah, sure.
Yeah. So what you see is what you see is Hoopa's little hoops start coming out and start circling, and all of a sudden they turn on edge, and for just a moment the glint of them looks like blades, and they flash out, and it's a psychic attack called Psycho Cut.
Psycho Cut.
Psycho Cut.
Cutter.
Yeah.
So is this
Psycho-
actually a separated wheezing and 2 coughings that were just floating near each other, or are we just representing them that way?
We're sort of just representing them
Okay.
that way, with
Got
a sort of like a large wheezing that is kind of separated off from the mass, and then 2 coughings as well.
Gotcha.
With sort of there is sort of this that again that kind of viscous cloud that they came from that is kind of still moving behind them. Although it did get noticeably smaller after it spawned the wheezing and the coughing.
Yeah, no, just with your initial description, I thought I got the feeling they were literally all like, this was a horrible monstrosity that was more than just a wheezing with a tiny like little head. Was like there were multiple heads all spawning off this weird sticky.
Essentially, yes. You
Okay.
have in fact actually described it, but for the purposes of what you're actually fighting in this moment,
Yes,
it is
cool.
a wheezing and 2 coughings. As I didn't feel like paying to commission fan art of whatever that would look like.
You're good. I'm just trying to make sure I'm visualizing it the right way.
Yes.
And it wasn't like a fog obscuring it to seem that way, but no, it is actually this weird.
Yes.
Because that's terrifying. Legitimately.
Wheezing's great. I love wheezing. Yes, so that was Psycho Cutter, and you strike true, and the
Monstrosity.
the largest of the monstrosities that is sort of floating inexorably towards you is taken aback, and it sort of grumbles with that distressingly human-like smoker's voice. And then it is one of the coughing going. All right, yes, their abilities are quite simple. Maybe. All right, and that is a failure. One of them sort of compresses and compacts its body, and sort of it ejects more of the particulates that you're not sure if they're inside of it or if they just make up its body, and that it's just sort of effusing a part of its corpus into the air. It does make it harder to see, but you are still able to discern their positions quite easily. And oh, there it is, the other one that is going. the other one does something similar and is starting to become quite difficult to pierce the miasma that surrounds them. And everyone's going to take a -1 to their attacks because of lowered accuracy. And so now we're in the ones club. So Lieutenant, you are going first.
Yep. King of the ones. All right. Yeah, Matang is just going to like hover forward and start to vibrate and hum in the same way it did before, and it is going to try and use psychic on the wheezing. That is super effective, so it gets a +2 minus the 1, so really like a +1. If I'm doing that correctly. D8 and a D6 +1. That is a 9.
All right. That indeed hits. Using psychic, you said?
Yes.
All right. If you want to describe how that looks.
Yeah, I think as Tango just floats forward again, there's just like this faint vibration around it, and it emanates a hum, almost similar actually to something that kind of like Ling Ling does, where it's like kind of a pulse out, and then you like see like a little bit of a hum and a psychic vibration focus in on the wheezing, uh, as it just kind of gets a little distorted from like almost an internal like shaking as this psychic energy focuses around it. And it's just hit with this like intense pressure.
All right. And Ephraim, it's your go.
Well, frustratingly enough, my special ability makes everybody more accurate, but I don't get to use that. So,
alas, no.
alas, no. Ephraim's going to say, all right, VT, there's a lot of smoke around attack, and I will roll. One of those is going to explode.
That's a strong move.
Right?
That's whew.
All right. So the 8 that I rolled is gonna explode. It's another 8.
Okay.
Do it again.
I know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Cool. So that is going to be a total of 13, 21, 29, I think. No, sorry. Yeah, 27.
Yeah, because you have a -1. So
Right.
the 13 and the 7 make 20, 28, -1,
Yep.
27.
So the 27. What VCreate does is basically the Victini on my head, who has had this little flame between its antenna. I think that flame is going to kind of spread all over its body, and it's going to take on this sort of golden hue. And then Victini is just going to, like a rocket, blast off from my head and into the cloud surrounding the enemy. And I'm gonna, if it's cool with you, I'm gonna say that Victini is gonna ping pong around, sort of with that roll. So VCreate does damage. It also lowers the user's defense, special defense, and speed.
Cool. So what are you doing with was it 27 you got?
Yeah, and I think
It's at least a double crit.
yeah. I think in this case we're just gonna go for straight damage.
Okay.
The way that I'm imagining it is sort of with the force and the speed that Victini is kind of like ping-ponging around the room, is it's going to clear out a bunch of the smoke and make the wheezing less powerful, in addition to hitting it a bunch of times.
Right, yeah, as with Victini playing breakout with the wheezing and the coughing and the cloud here, the much of the smoke is cleared, and even there's so much of this roiling heat coming off of it that you can actually see it starting to sort of burn away some of those kind of like purple crystals that had kind of crusted all over everything. And as the light from this attack clears, the wheezing has actually been pulverized to the point that it is actually split into 2 coughing.
Nice. So now we have 4 coughing?
Yes.
Oh no. Well, there goes our budget. I'm so sorry.
Honestly, you can take that away. Yes. Okay, yeah. So yeah, go ahead and take that away, and you can put the wheezing back there, because the wheezing itself had not yet acted, and so what it is going to use is a special move to essentially form a wheezing.
Cool.
So we're
So
left
we have
with
one wheezing, one coughing left.
To do. And it also did waste its action. Okay, so we got what, a 4, a 2, and a 6 looks like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Same order, just different numbers.
Man, this wheezing is not very fast. Can I get a luck point? Am I allowed to use luck? All right, so I think what, Ephraim had the 6, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, well, then you are up.
All right. Interesting. Okay.
Some gases are combustible.
I know, and I think that's kind of what it is like he's gonna yell out VT, don't give up, don't stop, don't slow down, keep going. And we're gonna try the same thing again. So basically just rolling this over since I get to go first this turn, basically if this works, just going to say he has never stopped moving this whole time.
Yeah.
Come on, 8s.
Is the roller like acting kind of slow for anybody else?
It is definitely struggling a little bit. That is an 8, though. I wasn't sure if it was struggling because I'm on my laptop, and my laptop is very old. But
No, it's going kind of slow for me too.
Okay. All right. Not as insane as last time. That was a 14, 19. If we're still at a -1, 18.
Nice.
All right. So single crit at least.
Yes. And yeah, we're going to keep doing the same thing, just more damage.
Okay. And are you, so with your sort of ping-ponging, are you going to pile all that damage into one of them? Or are you going to try and distribute it between the two of them? Up to you.
Well, it's a double crit, so what are we looking at here? 2 wounds?
Yeah, well, so what was the grand total number?
The grand total for this one was 18.
18. Okay, so a single crit, but not a double crit. So you do 2 damage total.
Okay. Yeah, I think it makes sense that since he's like ping-ponging around, he would hit both of them. So 1 to the coughing, 1 to the wheezing.
Okay.
In essence.
Okay.
And also lowering their defense, special defense, and speed, however you want to.
Cool. Well, that basically does litigate. Yeah, that will basically lower their toughness, and their speed. They're already going last, so.
I'm not so sure that happens to them.
Oh, that would make sense. That would suck, but it would make sense.
Oh, is that
It's
I may have
the
misread the
user.
move.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
Because that move is like
The users,
crazy
yeah.
powerful in the game, like 180 power. Like it's
Gotcha.
absurd.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense then. Don't worry about it, and I will put those penalties onto my guy.
Cool. All right. I think that doesn't actually affect, because you would still, I think, have been going first in the initiative.
Yeah.
With that -1 speed, and now you have a net -2 to your initiative roll, and I think you're at what, toughness 2?
Yeah, not in a great position.
Yes. Well,
but it
I mean,
does
hey,
make sense.
to be fair, those 2 uses did do a lot.
Oh yeah.
So representing its power in game.
Does he get to do extra damage if that's being baked into the move, though? If the move has a built-in penalty, shouldn't he get to do extra harm?
Sure, I'll give you an extra wound.
Ooh, all right. Let's do.
I'll give you an extra one of the wheezing. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
And then I think as the move slows down, as he stops using V create because he is exhausted, he kind of like slides to a stop next to Ephraim, and very casually, without looking at each other, they just like touch fingers, both forming V's.
Nice.
Very good.
Alex approves. Next up is going to be our illustrious lieutenant.
Cool. We're going with psychic again. That is the one psychic move that Matang has. So that's a D8 and a D6 plus 1. That is an 8.
All right, that hits. Who are you directing that one at?
Still wheezing.
Still
Like,
wheezing.
I think Matang has just continued to focus on the main one and just keep
Trying
piling
to
on this
keeping
kind of like
zeroing in on that psychic pressure.
Yeah.
Keep it contained. Awesome. And then it's going to be the professor.
I think the professor is going to go ahead and repeat the psychic attack move and just say, "Keep at it. We seem to be knocking it down a little, and just keep going," because the professor's not really a fighter.
Carry on.
Carry on.
Carry on.
Carry on.
Very good, Hooper. Murder it.
Murder it, please. Yes. Okay. And a hoop. And a roll.
I think as a note, Peggy is actually notably quiet when Matang's like they're both just like staring ahead very quietly. There is not a direct like do this, do that type of thing. I think
So
in her battling that's pretty rare.
I think with
Well, I think that makes sense. Like you and your Pokemon have drilled so much for just what to do in any given situation that they don't even have to wonder what you would want them to do in any given scenario most of the time.
And it is almost that military style tactics of like, okay, we're running this play or this maneuver. Like it's not like
an extended series of actions.
When you're clearing a room and you know you're going in second, you know exactly what your job is.
Yep.
So it's gonna be a 9, and it's at -1, so then you're gonna be an 8. So
okay, well, it still hits.
Yes. So we're doing the damage, and then I guess we're just going on.
All right. You're using what? Psycho Cut again?
So psychic move, yeah.
All right. Describe how that looks.
The way that looks for Hoopa is Hoopa's hoops kind of spread out from their body and float, and then turn on their sides, kind of get a sheen that's sort of like almost a psychic light, and then they shoot out towards the coughing and pierce through the smog veil.
That's actually a crit too. You get 10 because you have psychic on poison. That's super effective.
Okay, then yes, that is extra damage, please.
Okay. Sorry, my cats are apparently losing their mind in the other room.
I can't hear it coming through OBS.
I do not know what I am going to find when I
just chaos.
Is Erin home?
She is, but I think she might have gone to bed. So
okay.
We will find out after the stream.
Catnip, chaos,
yes,
destruction.
indeed.
Witness me. Just cat style.
I'm so sorry. Sorry, I'm listening. Okay, I think I'm hearing Erin talking, and I'm trying to figure out how bad the situation is based on that.
How angry she sounds.
Okay, thank you. Oh man! All right.
Was Erin watching a stream and came out and was just
I think she heard me. It was just like, it's fine.
It's only minor damage.
It's cosmetic.
Right.
It's cosmetic.
It's only a flesh wound.
We'll probably get our deposit back. It's fine.
I almost kind of wish the carnage that I heard came through OBS so you could understand why I kept just randomly looking over my shoulder.
I'm just picturing a cat in a box, but like as a larger room, like, you know, like.
Anyway, so yes, you actually psycho cut through the wheezing, and as before, it's part of it just kind of like bursts off into nothingness, leaving only a coughing behind.
Oh, jolly good. Just laughing for him. Oh, Hoopa. Are any of the crystals damaged in the attack?
Not as much. No. Yeah, mostly that knock-on effect only happened because of the absurdity of the V-Create crit.
Gotta do the like cutie smile.
Mm-hmm.
Victory. All right. Should we roll off again?
Actually, no, because the coughing isn't actually gone.
Oh. Well then.
Okay. As the coughing, it's utterly blank expression. This almost sort of vestigial mockery of a human face just sort of stares blankly towards you, but not at you. And with a colossal intake of breath that sucks in some of the remaining embers left hanging in the air from Victini's Recreate. You see this chain reaction start to occur inside of it as the light pierces its translucent surface, and you know what's happening, but it's happening too quickly to stop. The best you were able to do is for all of you and your Pokemon to hit the deck as the coughing self-destructs, sending a shockwave through the room that is going to deal a wound to all Pokemon present and all people present.
I don't care for that.
That's my second one. For Peggy, not even the Pokemon.
When did you get wounded the first time?
In the first battle.
No, no.
Really? Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember the exact context, but she did in the first one too, from the fire. So yeah. So one more, and I'm unconscious.
These are not like Queensberry rules Pokemon matches. This is war. Pokemon will murder human beings.
That's war, kid.
It's even more important now that we find a Healy table.
A Healy table, Professor.
Yes, a Healy table.
Okay, sorry, I thought you said healing, and I was like, what is that?
Well, I mean,
What are you talking about?
There's no actual, like, it's like Kleenex, okay? Yes, it's a tissue, but Healy is a brand, and healing is what it is.
The tables are made by Healy's.
Healy's brand.
That's why they're on wheels.
Because we established it's a Healy table, not a wheelie table. That's why you had to muscle. That's why you had to muscle it awkwardly down the stairwell.
Healy tables for my Feely tables.
But as the smoke clears from the self-destructed coughing, it seems as though it has spooked the remainder of the cloud, which has sort of slurped up into the ventilation system of the mansion and out of the room.
Just like
everybody hated that.
everybody went, nope, I hate that sound that my brain just made me think of. Let's not slurp.
But it's such a wonderful onomatopoeia.
Oh, it sounds and also goopy. I don't like it. Oh no, what happened?
I don't know.
Which is all the more fun because ostensibly they're gaseous.
Yeah, I don't understand why there was sharping.
Because coughing is the fifth matter.
All right. What in the what? All right. So I think the professor is going, can I do some type of healing? How would one go about?
Well, you do have access to the instruments that are in the room. You could try and cobble something, because these are in much better condition than the ones in the first room that you were in. Although, so as you start kind of eyeing those, Lieutenant, give me a quick tactics roll.
Mm-hmm. Also, just that move was higher than a 4, right, on the toughness?
A fantastic question.
Oh no.
What?
It was exactly a 4.
Oh no.
Peggy has a toughness of 5 because she is made of iron.
Peggy takes no damage.
Get fucked coughing.
Peggy too buff.
He just like stands up and
You
like
can't be
wipes a
stopped.
bit of coughing off her uniform and just like looks around.
All right, I feel much better going forward with her not on Dustor. I need my character to not retroactively not exist because his grandmother died outside of time.
Weird.
What a twist that
time
would be, though.
dilations.
Like we start the main campaign back up and we never mention Billy again because he was never born.
Also,
no.
I continue to just absolutely kill it on tactics, so that is a 1.
So I
Yeah.
think that Professor, go and give me a research roll.
Oh, must I?
Yep.
Let's hold on. That is not what I want. Boop. For some reason, it wants to roll a d4, which is not what I want. Let's go. Boop. Now you may roll. Just bouncing around. Appears to be a 3.
We are killing it at our 1 jobs, respectively.
Could I? Are we okay with me re-rolling? Since
Yeah, I'm always fine with it.
it is to try to get us to
We have
heal.
4 luck in the pool, so
Okay. I am attempting to heal us, so I feel like that is a probably important thing.
Nice.
nice.
So they're 8. Okay.
Yep. 8 on a D10, correct?
Yeah, it's on a D10.
You are able to sort of piecing the various instruments together. You understand enough of their engineering and what you would need to do to create one of these Pokemon healing consoles that you're able to jury rig together a reasonable facsimile. It looks like they actually had at one point one in here that has been damaged through disuse, but by scavenging parts from some of the other instruments, you are able to get it working. So you have a working Healy table.
Who's the most hurt?
I guess we're all the same hurt since Peggy didn't actually take a wound this last time. I think we all have 1.
I think Wheezing had, or not coughing, Wheezing.
Are we talking about
Ghastly.
humans or Pokemon?
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know.
Pokemon, I think.
Pokemon
I
can
see.
be healed by the Healy table.
Yes,
I
alas,
see.
humans cannot use the Healy table, alas.
When has that been established? Canon.
Cite your sources.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, if Ghastly's
I have 2
I mean-
Pokemon at 1 wound each.
okay.
But
Ghastly's got
how many
2
Pokemon do we
wounds.
have total?
Got
Two.
2.
Yeah, we all have
2.
2, which is a total of 6. If this is a traditional Healy table, shouldn't it be able to heal 6
You know,
Pokemon?
Fair
Sure,
enough.
should have 6
Yeah.
pockets.
There we go.
Yep,
Pop
fair
them
enough.
in.
Do.
Beep, 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 Thank you for the sound.
Mhm.
We're all gonna get sued now.
No,
So-
not if they ever want to use the technical term Healy table. We've got that unlocked.
Yeah,
That's
no,
true.
We got a cold. We got a standoff
The
here.
fandom original.
That's right. Call us Game Freak.
Your Pokemon are all healed up. They're feeling much better. Although, Professor, you do notice that in your single-minded zeal to get these parts working, to get this Healy table functioning, you weren't the most careful about those crystals that were sort of crusting over the surface, and it looks like you have cut your hands up on them a bit.
Oops.
Yep.
I'm sure that will have no repercussions whatsoever. Well, be careful. They're a little sharp. Just walk around, I think. Yes. And he like wraps up his hand, and I'm gonna assume he scavenged some sort of, like bandaging and offered to the others. And
Yeah,
I'm sure
you've been
Peggy
able
has
to,
like a field medicine
you've been able
kit.
to find like a med kit, stashed in the back of a cabinet. And yes, the lieutenant does also have a field kit that has human medical supplies available if needed.
um I do think the professor takes a sample of the crystals if there's any available.
Mhm.
Just because, probably something we'll need. Where does the growth originate, or like does it originate from somewhere in particular, from the portal, the teleportation?
No, sort of crusting around a lot of stuff in the room. It looks as though, based on the where a couple of veins kind of lead, it looks like it probably originated with the cloud.
Oh, from the coughing.
Yeah.
Okay. Then yeah, I think the professor's just gonna, like, warn Ephraim away from it, because child sharp things.
Aw, man.
Oh man. And continue his work on the teleporter once the Pokemon have been cared for. And uh I'm sure uh the lieutenant is securing the room and doing all that stuff. So
And then there is still the matter of getting the data as well.
yes. um I think, if there is anything to obtain, are there computers in here, or is that
Not in this room, it looks like.
okay? Then I think, yeah, looking for additional tape recorders or notes or anything with regards to what type of research in particular the teleportation device was around, what's going on with the crystallized structures from the coughing, the securing of Mewtwo, those types of things. So
All right.
research.
Well, so you can work on that. What do the other two of you want to do?
I think Peggy will probably go poke her head in the other remaining room, since this room seems clear but had a threat in it, and the other room literally had the remains where Mewtwo was, just to like. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot else around this area other than these three things, so maybe like let's try and eliminate threats and make sure if the professor's going to be taking some time. So going to check the remaining room.
Okay. And Ephraim, what are you doing?
Following after Peggy, but also gonna try to be psychic again.
Okay. I was gonna go ahead and give me a ESP roll.
Cross your fingers. 1 in 4 chance here. Maybe it didn't actually roll. Try that again.
Okay.
Nope, that's a 1.
Oof. Yeah, whatever type of anti-psychic insulation they were using in here, it works pretty good.
High quality.
That's that.
Yeah.
Hey, that's Silphco for you.
That anti-psychanium really hell of an element.
And so you're going to go check out room number 2. You turn the handle, and the door creaks open on its track. And at last, you found the goat. Oh no, Aster's not here. And go up into a room that appears to be full of these sort of large, like magnetic tape data banks.
anything else, or just multiples of those all around?
Looks like there is sort of there is a couple of computer consoles hooked up to them, and some things scattered on desks.
Okay. Yeah, as soon as she's like scouted out, looks like that's all there is. We'll go back to the other room, and Professor, you're gonna want to take a look in there next. Looks like a lot of the research is probably stored in there.
Oh, good, good. I'll finish up here quickly, and I'll try to. And do I find anything there, or do we just want to move over to the do one hole?
There is a minor thing you're sure, because you're kind of poking at the teleporter mostly as kind of a curiosity, more than anything. Like a little bit, about sort of its technical capabilities. It's mostly something that doesn't really occur to you that it's terribly important now, but we might come back to that later. So
I think the professor is just fascinated with it because it has to do with so very much of his own current research vein of teleportation and how it works and interacts psychically. So I think he maybe even leaves Hoopa to study it and say, think about whether you can manipulate this teleportation field. We've identified that your hoops are easily manipulated, but if you could alter the teleportation fields of other sources, and like he just leaves and heads out to and Hoopa's like, okay. Because Hoopa's just, used to the crazy old man that he lives with.
Oh yeah, so you follow Peggy over to room number 2, full of these magnetic tape data banks and these old computer consoles. Barely even qualify as computers, honestly. And they're almost like Memex consoles.
Tape punch. So I guess, do you want me to do a research roll to access data storage, or?
No, you're good. I mean, you are pretty able to. You're familiar with this setup. You have a Memex in your home office, actually.
I try to keep my daughters away from it because it does
too
not
much screen
interact.
time.
Yes. Well, it's more.
I mean, you know those kids. You can't keep them off the Memex.
Yes. It's more that they like to take things apart with their minds. As I mentioned earlier, my wife is from a line of very strong psychics, and I can't tell you the trouble it's been having all of my daughters inherit that ability. It's just been. It's a lot, I'm going to be honest. You don't think you are going to struggle as a parent until your child starts lifting themselves and their toys out of the playpen. And then you realize you're really in trouble. Everybody talks about the stage where they're crawling and running, but no.
How many daughters do you have, Professor?
Oh, well, first there were the triplets. And he just goes through.
Geez, that's a lot of psychic girls. I hope I never meet any of them.
Oh, yes. Well, I mean, there's a few characters that really stand out. I suppose my 2 eldest really just I wouldn't call them trouble, but they're definitely characters, strong-willed, like their mother. You would not fare well, I don't think. You are a little.
No. Sounds awful.
Yeah, you're a little bit more stubborn, I think. Than you don't get any of that around the Esper women.
Oh yeah, don't worry, Professor. You don't got to worry about me trying to marry your daughter. Trust me on that.
Oh, wildly specific.
Oh no, yes, you really should be wary of that. They have this tradition where you actually have to Pokemon battle each of the matriarchs in the family before you can marry in. And given how many daughters I've had, it's going to be just terror. A terror for the next generation. I can't even imagine. And I honestly, I'm a little relieved. Weddings are quite expensive, and I can't imagine how I'm going to get through all of that.
Sorry, I missed everything you just said. I got distracted looking at this console. You should come take a look at this.
No, he already is. He's like,
I hope it wasn't
into
anything
it.
important.
And so
That
yeah,
might
I mean,
come up later.
That
and
might
it's
come up
funny-
later and cause me a lot of trouble.
no,
It's
I mean,
fine.
and it is funny. Yeah, you're kind of a little shocked that you got quite as easily distracted, just because, like, I mean, you're everyone calls you, kind of an absent-minded professor. You're not unaccustomed to that, but you do feel
Weird.
oddly lightheaded, a bit clammy. You might say that your toughness has gone down by 1.
Meow. Meow.
Uh-oh.
That's not good.
That's not good.
Toughness.
So when
So,
you were describing having to battle all the matriarchs of the family to marry into the family,
Yeah.
Peggy was actually just taking aggressive notes. Like, oh, hold on, the professor finally has a good idea. I like that.
Aggressive note taking. Yeah, so the professor sort of is like a little bit woozy. So question, what happens if I have a toughness of 0?
What a wild notion.
What a wild notion. If I go to a negative toughness, how are we working that one?
What a wild notion.
Work all the time.
Hmm.
Yes,
Yes,
thank you everyone who donated.
And
We
hey,
appreciate you.
stream's not done yet. Might have to
It's
might have to make some more rolls. You never know. Gotta keep that luck pool topped off. Might have to Nephilim it.
To feed my 7 psychic sisters and stuff. Essentially, it is in fact, instead of evil X's, it's just,
It's Psychic Sisters.
some of the attacks are really weird. It's like, have you been to therapy?
Oh, my one weakness.
No.
Do you know how to wash your own dishes?
This isn't a Pokemon battle.
Can you cook spaghetti?
If you answer no to the first one, you just get locked into a room with a Mr. Mime with a pencil and a notepad.
It's actually the abracadabra that was their nanny as a kid. That's the one. So
you sit
Yeah.
down at this Memex console, and you are sort of figuring out sort of just the particular layout of its menus. It's not particularly secure, just because the general assumption with these machines was that anyone who was sufficiently proficient to be able to use them was supposed to be using them. So you are able to locate the directory that was mentioned in the previous recording, Athenor Mercury Abiogenesis. And indeed, you see, even the rest of you could even see almost kind of projected on the professor's face the way it is in cheesy movies, because of this backlit projector screen that the console uses. This string of mathematics and formula that is backing up the assertions related to Mewtwo's psychic abilities and the amplification and dampening thereof. It does not have a print option, but you can copy them down.
Like by hand?
Yes.
I do so as quickly as possible, and like I'm pointing out to the lieutenant, like the equation, and kind of explaining it as I go, and because
I think if you're reading it, you will in military note taking shorthand, be copying down what you're
And
saying.
as you do so, there as you're working on that, there is also a little notation, a section for footnotes, essentially, that you can access.
Cool. I'm gonna do that, but I also since you're taking notes, I'm taking notes and I'm explaining it kind of like out loud as I read it out. Is there empty space on the dictaphone tape?
The one you found in the elevator?
Mm-hmm.
Are you asking? Never mind. Nothing.
I'm
No.
assuming
Don't you
you
dare.
have it.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
I do have it.
Yeah,
Is there
yes.
room on it?
Yeah. I mean, you're not the most familiar with how it works, but it looks like there is some room on the end of the tape.
You press record. That'll actually help quite a lot. Because I'm not feeling well. I can't. It's just been such a long trip, and we should get this quickly.
It's recording. Do you think, Professor?
Yeah. So I go into the footnotes and I read through the whole thing, and yeah.
And it sounds like then also there is a section at the end of the footnotes that also there's sort of a little appendix that is just labeled missing numbers.
Oh goodness. Well, that's not good news. And I go into the appendix and
when you bring up the appendix, you actually hear some machinery moving inside of the Memex. It's queuing up an audio tape, almost like a jukebox, that begins playing out of a small speaker on the side of the console.
Yes, he said the name of the game.
Is it? I swear I can't get this thing working anytime. There. All right. Yes, I'm recording. We're recording. Good. Excellent. Yes, this is Dr. Professor James G. Blaine. The senior. I have to keep remembering to say that. So, there's two of us. James G. Blaine, senior. Recording. Statement begins. Notes on Pokemon and on the missing numbers phenomenon. In essence, Subject Mu is a macrobacteria from the quantum foam of a neutron star. All Pokemon, in essence, are mutated variants with similar traits to existing Animalia acquired through a form of convergent evolution. What we perceive as the bodies of Pokemon are the lion's share of them, but not all of them. Parts of them continue to exist in a corona of eldritch waveforms just outside the curvature of space-time. Its proximity to and link to our physical laws could allow it to contain internal geometries that are reconcilable with existence. Things from within it could instantiate here. And importantly, vice versa. Missing numbers, as I've taken to calling them,
How dare.
Missing numbers, as I've taken to calling them, occur when a Pokemon-like entity moves from that pocket dimension into ours without enough physical information to exist. Normally, this doesn't happen because that eldritch waveform is computationally inaccessible. But the more that we tinker with transcribing physical information through energy, such as with Pokeballs and teleportation, the more we risk running accidentally into one of these liminal spaces. Getting a person into the space is actually, I suspect, much easier than trying to even move them across a room, teleportationally speaking, especially if you send them along with a Pokemon. It's just that, to date, no one has really had a reason to try, I think. If you were to just send a Pokemon, nowhere, if that makes any sense from a physical standpoint, its constituent pattern will pull like an elastic band into the only remaining place where it can exist in a stable form, that being the Eldritch Zone. If a person were to go with them, the pocket of local physics created by observing them will cause the person to be pulled along with them. Of course, there's always the risk that you and the Pokemon could fuse together into a terrifying abomination, but that's science for you. Oh, is that the dinner bell? Oh, don't want to be last in line.
That's science for you.
Where's the off? Almost got it. Yes.
That's science for you.
Any of you understand any of that?
Well, it seems the teleportation device is a much more interesting contraption than I'd previously anticipated.
And it is around that time, that moment, that suddenly you feel a shuddering of thumps as an explosion above you rocks the foundation of the laboratory. You don't know if it is more enemy Pokemon, like more Magmortars shelling the mansion, or if it is more of the coughing self-destructing elsewhere in the mansion. But you should get out of here now, you think.
We should go.
As the guide, it is my professional opinion that we should leave, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have the recording and the notes. We should go. And the professor's like looking a little woozy as he stands up, like he gets almost that look of somebody who's, you know, when you stand up too fast and your blood pressure rushes and you lose your vision for a second. He kind of looks like that for a minute, and then he shakes it off and keeps walking.
All right, let's get moving. Call VT back out so that we have a light source again as we are moving through the mansion, and then take the lead, backtracking to lead us out of the mansion.
Okay. You get to...
I'm pulling out, just for the record, pulling out X-ray because of their ability to see through solid surfaces, because we do not know what we're walking into, and keeping them out with eyes open.
Well, unless there's a bullshit coughing / wheezing monstrosity around, and then they can't see through shit.
Yeah. Yeah, because the clear haze would stop them from being able to see through non-clear surfaces.
Listen,
Hoopa is
there's not one in this space.
Hoopa is out with the professor and is actually looking like a little bit worried and like kind of tugging the professor along.
You head back down the hallway to the elevator that you came down, and you are about to go push the button when Luxray actually sort of tugs at your sleeve and sort of gestures upward with its snout and just shakes its head.
As in, like, don't go up, seemingly. Yeah. Something bad is up there, but I don't think we have another way out, Professor. That teleporter's not... It's not like a Pokemon-only sort of thing, right?
Well, I mean, theoretically, it could, a human being could, but perhaps the room, there was some outside light. We could maybe find a way
up to that hole.
So, the hole would be very challenging, just because you have to climb up through the blasted hole in the reinforced concrete, and then up through the blasted layers of the house, which is where the explosions came from. There is the option of the teleporter. Now, Professor, you were taking a look at it, and you were actually pretty sure that it could transport a person. It seems like it was designed to transport a person, at least over a fairly short distance. There is only one problem. and it just something you noticed before, but it wasn't immediately relevant as you weren't planning on using it to get out of here. And that is that whatever external power source that it is currently hooked up to only has enough juice for 2 trips.
So I think when we look up into the room with the open ceiling and we see how far it is to climb and look around and realize we don't have anything to climb with, the professor does go, oh, all right. They did design the teleporter for human use. I don't know if it is safe to utilize or even where the landing pad will be, but I do believe this building will come down on us before we make it out of that hole. I think, Lieutenant, if you think you can, we should go through the teleporter. I'll keep things stable and try to make sure it's as safe as possible while both of you go through.
How are you getting out?
Oh, well, I'll go through after you, of course, but the stabilization of the device is utmost. I mean, this building could start coming down, and if anything were to happen while you two were traveling through, I'm the only one who could fix the machine. You don't know that the device isn't stable.
Yeah.
I know.
I will say that you guys are noticing that the professor is looking very.
Pale.
The professor's like sweating, pale. Incidentally, Professor, you have lost another point of toughness.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Tracks.
Professor, are you going to be able to hold it together long enough to get yourself through this?
Oh, yes, of course. It'll be fine. It just has to be a few moments, and then most likely we'll be somewhere much safer than this. Go on. You'll want to. I don't think you'll want to have your Pokemon out for this. It. Who knows what could happen.
We'll attract Pokemon. I think Peggy will push. It's kind of a tough ground either way, but I guess for Ephraim to go first because we're on a time crunch. Like, I feel like she would take the lead if it's going into a danger situation, but also doesn't want to risk the taking too long thing. So I think would push for Ephraim to take the lead.
There is another rumble of an explosion from upstairs.
Yeah. But I think she'll frame it as, well, this is certainly a new way of travel. You think you're up for it, Mr. Guide?
Ephraim's gonna throw Peggy a salute. He's gonna say, "Just leave it to me."
Then you lead the way.
Yep, gonna get in the teleporter. He's gonna pause right before he gets in and be like, "You sure this thing's safe?"
It'll be as safe as I can make it. Be careful when you get on the other side, and just stay safe.
All right. Gets in. See you on the other side, old people.
Clear the way for us.
You got it.
And in a flash of light and pixels, Ephraim is gone.
I think the professor is checking along the lines and making sure everything's good with the power source. And
yeah, it looks like that according to their I've just lost what they call it on Star Trek. I was gonna make a Star Trek transporter joke, but I've lost. There's specific technobabble they use, and I can't conjure it right now because I'm a bad Trekkie. But it looks like Ephraim made it to his destination.
Peggy's gonna reach in.
Ephraim's through. Sorry.
Peggy's gonna nod, reach into that little like field kit she had, and pull out like I think the last of like a military grade stimulant, like the you got to stay up all night for watch thing, and like hand it to the professor, like stay awake till you're through, professor. I see you nodding off, and then step up to be.
Got that good army grade meth.
Thank you, dear. And like right before you step in, the professor looks at you and says, "Peggy, do tell the girls I love them." and like,
Yeah, and you see like a very like eyes immediately go to like squint, like suspicious as she's like teleported out.
All right, Professor, you are alone in the room. And the lights on the teleporter gradually start to dim and flicker and go out.
I think that the professor makes sure both of his Pokemon are outside of their balls. And he says, "Well, it's been such a pleasure working with you both. But you should really head out now. It's getting a little hairy here." And he kind of like looks at the rumbling ceiling. He says, I don't think you should stay."
You have a PC right there. You can release them.
And your Pokemon both regard you confusedly and sadly for a moment. But there is particularly a nod of understanding from Ghastly, the Pokemon most familiar with death in all its various forms. As Hoopa uses its own teleportation abilities to take itself away, and Ghastly does that thing that ghost Pokemon do, where they just sort of fade away into the ether.
Oh boy, I've been there, but
And it is around the time that the elevator doors burst open. With a crash of flaming debris that is collapsing in from the upper levels of the mansion. And the room begins to fill with smoke. And that smoke gradually becomes sort of flickering shadow, pantomime on a crystal wall. And Julian Rue and Billy Baker and Estelle East are all sitting around the table with Kaz Grabbins. This haunter surrounds them in this seance. And there's sort of a long moment. You all sort of take in this weird story that you don't know if you imagined it or hallucinated it. And Haunter sort of gradually recoils from the pale of shadow that had formed around you for the seance, sort of reconstituting itself sadly, solemnly over the table. And this light filters back in, this sort of low evening glow. You realize there is one more person there than there should be. There is Julian Rue. There is Still East. There is Billy Baker. There is Kaz Grabbins. And now also sitting at the table is what looks like a young boy in a blue sweatshirt, yellow galoshes, and a low slung red cap. And that's where we're ending the session.
Cool.
Who boy, been there, man. Like, I love the idea of the ghost just being like, "Yep, I remember dying." Like, just heading out.
Yeah,
Sucks,
that's
bro.
rough, buddy.
That's rough,
Yeah.
buddy.
That's real.
I've been there. Cool. That's fun. I love that. Just a little foray into death.
Yeah, you know.
It's fine.
All right. Well, I suppose on that note, thank you to everyone who decided to tune in this evening. I hope that this was exactly the content that you were looking for. Everything that happened in this session. But genuinely, if you joined us tonight, if you watched, if you donated, if you chatted, followed, subscribed, whatever, it really genuinely does mean the world to us, especially all the donations that you're making to a really good cause. We would not be able to make any of that happen without all of you guys. We will be back. Is there a Wildcard Wednesday tomorrow?
There's not, in fact.
Okay. So I think in that case, the first game is going to be starting off the 12 Days of Hasmus, yeah?
Yep. We will be back on, what is it, Saturday?
Saturday.
Yeah. With the first of the 12 games of Hasmus.
Indeed, yeah. Starting off the 12 games of Hasmus. I think, well, I'm running one. Liz is running one. Will, are you running one?
I am running one.
All right, cool. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a lot of different stuff on offer there. A lot of very different approaches. A lot of new faces. A lot of people you have not otherwise seen on stream before. I think it's going to be a very different sort of experience. A marathon over the holidays and also a big last fundraising push. Going to see if we can potentially get ourselves over our fundraising goal by the end of the year. Crossing our fingers here. If you would like to know when we are going live and what we're up to, you can follow us on Twitter, Cursebird app at Live from the APOC. Should be up there on the screen. You can also join our Discord community, which is full of a lot of awesome and friendly people. And it's generally just kind of a great place, if I do say so myself. We do community nights on there where we play games together off stream and also watch bad movies. Really just kind of a nice group of folks. I like it. So if you'd like to get to know us better, we would genuinely love to have you. And I think at long last, somebody please stop me. That is enough talking from me.
True. We are going to call it a night there, I think. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out tonight. We are going to raid High Shelf Collective. They are in the middle of streaming for charity as well. They are raising money for the Trevor Project. So I'll hop over there. They're playing Thirsty Sword Lesbians.
Nice.
There are two messages in the chat. 2 raid messages. If you are subscribed, you can copy paste the first one. If you are not subscribed, feel free to grab the second one with the raccoons. Stick around. We're going to disappear for just a few seconds. Then we'll hop over there and say hi and give our support to High Shelf Collective. And I think that's pretty much it for us. So say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Everybody.